What's going on, you guys? We back at it with the realm. We talking about TowerBorne, man. First off, shout out to Microsoft. Shout out to Xbox.
Salute.
They hooked up all the lords with the code. Uh, Me and Cog were the only people that had the time currently today, and we wanted to give you guys some content on it, man. Me and Cog, we played it for a couple hours. I played it for a couple sessions actually. I think I
Oh
streamed
yeah.
it for 3 hours on top of that.
Oh yeah.
uh, you know, One of the things I really want to go into is the story.
hmm
Uh, First off, for those of would you consider this like a 2D
It,
2D beat 'em up game?
yeah, it's definitely it's a unique 2D beat 'em up style, bespoke art style, very cartoonish, almost like it jumps off the page like an anime to me. But to your point, yeah, it's 2D, but it has these moments like Trek to Yomi where you can kind of go into the background and then come back, but you still fight on a side to side kind of a plane.
Yeah, I actually get annoyed when you're going up and down and you can't like fight them diagonal because you have to like
Yes.
word yourself into that. So pretty much like essentially like think of street what's that rage of street rage
Streets of
fight
Rage. Streets of
streets of
Rage, baby.
rage. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I think they're doing a Power Rangers one.
hmm
Think that, but a little bit more elaborate on like it's not just from left to right or right to left. Like there's positions in the map where they're like, we want you to go up, we want you to go down. I actually had a scenario happen, Cog, where they wanted me to go down, and I didn't
hmm
realize it, and I thought the game glitched. Like because they don't ask you to do that a lot, but that
That
had
is
one
true.
specific thing where I'm not thinking in my head that I have to go down. So I'm
Yeah.
sitting here like hitting the sides. I'm like, man, maybe I got to reset. Like maybe the map glitched. First off, I want to talk about story. Uh,
hmm
I didn't care about the story at all. I got to be honest. Like the story. I'm not saying that the story's not there. First off, to be funded, I'm assuming greatly by Xbox.
hmm
I find it like unacceptable that there's not voice dialogue in the game. Like
But let me give you
there's
some history though. Let me give you some history. Stoic, to your point, I agree. Look, I it does hurt the game that there is no voice. I have to admit that. Like,
no
and this is
voiceovers at all.
at all. There's no voice acting. There's no voiceovers. Let's get that right out. And as a person who loves Stoic games, as a person who comes from Banner Saga, this was one of my major complaints. This is one of the greatest turn-based games they've ever made. And the art style is great. The characters look amazing. And you're reading text forever. So this seems to have carried over to TowerBorne, but I just wanted to give you some background on that. But I'll let you continue as far as you explaining your story issues.
Yeah, I think when you make like I don't mind text formats when it's like side stuff, side activity, side characters, but it's just like people in the tower. That's what we call it because we believe this is the 2D Destiny.
I
Like,
mean, yeah, I
uh,
mean, definitely inspired by Destiny. I'll let you finish.
yeah,
Good.
it's like equivalent of like, and I know like the funding for the games are completely different, but walking into the town and Ikora just giving you text dialogue, like it's just like it don't hit the same. It don't, and I understand that voice acting is expensive, but I can tell you right now there is mad amounts of people on TikTok that would do this for pennies on the dollar, and they are actually good. I feel like the industry need like I feel like the industry just looks at the top like 5-10% of people that voice act and feel like
Mm,
everyone's gonna make that if they have to do it. It's just like
mm,
no, like the amount of people that are willing to do this as an entry position just to get their foot in the door that would
mm,
do this for pennies on the dollar. To me, there is no reason why there ain't voice in the majority of these games. Like there
mm.
is indie games with a fraction of the budget that has voice overs, and it's just like when I'm sitting here, I'm like these characters look cool, but I can't visualize them
Yeah.
talking. I can't like if I wanted to read, I'd read a book. I ain't reading a book. I'm playing a game. And to
Yeah.
me, I'm in 2024, and the moment I come up to, and there's more than like three or four, like I don't even read the dialogue in like the old Final Fantasy games. When I like play Final Fantasy 8, 9, I don't read none of that. I skip all the dialogue. Like it don't happen to
Mhm.
me. There'll be sometimes I'll do side missions on like AAA. I'm a little bit more lenient on like side missions,
Yeah.
characters that don't really have a whole lot of dialogue. They're not really in the story too much. They're just in there for a couple sentences. Okay, that can be text. But it's like main characters, in my opinion, if you want a game to really resonate with a viewer, with the gamer, like you got to have like they got to hear what that person is saying. And I think that really hurt me when it comes to how much I would enjoy just the story aspect of this game.
No, I hear where you're coming from. I mean, it definitely is going to rub some people wrong that
And
you
a lot of
just
dialogue.
yeah, there's a ton of dialogue in the game, and there's usually games like this, the main character you're kind of used to not talking, but the actual NPCs and the other characters you do talk. From what I get from the story, it is very Destiny inspired. Like these guys that we are called the Aces, and they've been resurrected, so to speak. And you go to the Belfry, which is kind of the equivalent of the tower. You have this thing called Umbra, which
let's not be real. You was calling it the tower.
I'm calling it the tower. Mama look like the tower is a tower to me. But they got these little things, Umbras things, and they're like to me ghosts, right? It's the same.
But they fight. They fight with you.
Yes, they do fight with you. They in the mix. They in the mix for sure.
One ability.
Yes. So yeah, like I said, and I guess my thing with the story as well was that it was very understated because I was just worried about what's the next activity I'm going to do and stuff like that. I wasn't really paying too much attention to it. And my other nitpick, this is not really story, it's just that the way the tower, the belfry is like it's very side to side, right? Left to right. And I wish you could kind of like peel back from a camera standpoint because sometimes they'd be like, yo, go talk to Joffrey. I'm just making up a name.
And then I feel like the circles aren't like visible enough.
Yeah,
sometimes I'll be locking away, just
yes.
like waiting for like I want like a red like circle that's saying, yo, this dude is this way. Because sometimes I'll be walking around and that circle blends into what's on the screen.
Into what's on the screen and it affects the UI. So again, we're in beta, right? And these are the things that I want to give the feedback. You have to make this better. Or at minimum, if you don't want to do that, have like a UI mini map or something of where we got to go and show me the time. Like it's too, for a space that is that wide and dense, you need indicators, that the proper indicators. So that was my thing with it. But I don't know where we're going next. But yeah, for the story, that was kind of the gist of it. It's kind of like these resurrected guardians. This is the last city, the enemies have overrun the earth. And, this is where humanity has stayed. And the aces are here to save the day kind of energy.
Yeah, and they kind of got like, we don't want to go too much into the story stuff. I don't know anything about it, but let's move in a little bit of the gameplay because I feel like this is where this game shines. Like, by far, I personally feel like this game is going to come out with like lukewarm reviews at first, but then they're going to start picking up speed with updates. They clearly in the class section, there's clearly more room to expand. I think there's 4 classes, isn't it?
Yes, there was 4 classes.
You have the blade person. I can't remember their names.
Yeah, they're kind of like Sentinel. Then you got the the War Club person, the Pyroclast. You got.
So what was your favorite class? While I look up the classes.
All right, so the 4 classes. For me, I think I started off with Sentinel with Sword and Shield, which is kind of a more deliberate style. You can repel and stuff like that. And at first, I kind of got into it. A lot of you could do jack. The game has a lot of juggling in it, right? It really wants you to juggle, right? And again, beat 'em up style, side scrolling, that kind of thing. But you got abilities. And what I noticed with the Sentinel, I was like, okay, this is cool. But where it really synergized with me is again that Pyro class, which is like this big mauling weapon, slow, deliberate but powerful.
It's called the Pyroclast.
Yes, the Pyroclast really resonated with me because I can take out a group of enemies. I'm not as fast as everybody else, but the cool thing is also that I can load this like cannon maul thing with fire. And then I can start burning enemies with it and doing all these crazy combos and shit like that. So it's a rhythm to it. Once you learn it, it's a little bit of an adjustment period, but that's the one I had the most fun. I know which one you had the most fun with.
So I actually really enjoyed the Pyroclast. I have to say that. There's the Sentinel, which is the sword and shield. I played that one by far the least. I did team up with someone on TowerBorne that was a beast with that class.
Yes.
So, it's not necessarily, I don't think any of these classes are underwhelming. I think it's just how you use them. The Rock Breaker is pretty much gloves. These gloves, it's like the size of him himself.
It's like the dude from Arms.
It kind of reminds me of what's that dude from Overwatch? He's got a big glove, but he's Dude
Overwatch
with
dude.
big
Dude with big arms in Overwatch.
in Overwatch. Doomfist, that's his name.
Doomfist. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of
but
Doomfist
okay.
energy.
I will say that glove's not the size of their gloves. Like their gloves are a little bit smaller, but
Mm-hmm.
it pretty much it's
Rock
like
breaker.
it's a very close range class, like very very close range
Yeah,
class.
single target, high DPS against bosses. So single target dude, he gets busy with the heads.
And he probably has the highest DPS in the game.
Yes, shout out to the
And
Rock
then you got
Breaker.
the Pyro class, which I would say is the mid range to long range. It's got a lot of AOE attacks. It's got a lot of keeping people at bay. I would say it's in a lot of ways it's the biggest on ad control.
Yes, big time.
And then you got the Shadow Strike, which is the Shadow Striker, which is pretty much a rogue from every game. They're very fast individuals. They get in and out. They got abilities that target one person, and sometimes they have abilities that target multiple. I would say that the Shadow Strikers is mainly built around fighting one person at a time, but they do have abilities that so happen everyone can get the smoke. Like,
Yeah.
so what was the standout? Because we both played a wide variety of these. I played them all like multiple times. What was your top of all of them? Like your favorite points of all of them?
Yeah, all four, because the game during the starts of the quest, they want to acclimate you. They want to tell you, hey, you could switch your class on the fly. You're not locked into the class. So I thought that was cool. So then when you start playing, I will say again, you start off with Sentinel. That's the one they kind of introduce you with. I'm like, okay, this is solid. I thought that was cool. But when you see the other class, you're like, oh, you see the potential of the game. So if I had to rank, I will say the Shadow Striker is the coolest. Like it is the coolest look. Then I saw you because you were doing your little anime run, your little Naruto run with your hands back.
Naruto.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you do it. And then you did the teleport. So that was the class. I said, oh, this Shinobi, the ninja, I might have to take this. So I thought I was going to stay Shadow Striker. I go front because I saw you playing it and we were both Shadow Striking together in our combat. But then I said, when the game made me pick the other classes as part of a quest line, I did Pyro class. I'm like, yo, it really starts to heat. Now the Rock Breaker, I could tell that's a powerful class, but I just didn't want to stay limited like that. So I would say if I had to rank, I still say Shadow Strike is probably number one. I saw you getting busy. I was like, damn.
You can do an absurd amount of damage with that Shadow.
Bro, the juggles are so flashy. But he take the two daggers and start spinning around and doing it's fly stuff. So I would say Shadow Strike is number one, even though Power Class is my favorite for number two. And then I would say, I think Sentinel 3. I'm not gonna say Rock Breaker is whack. It's just that I would have to put in the work. And here's the thing that we gotta mention, and I'm glad you pointed out to me. You were showing me combos that were different than the combos I was doing when you were a Shadow Striker. And I was like, how is that? And it was because once you equip different weapons like Destiny, so to speak, they got different attributes and different combos. So I was like, yo, that's dope. I love the originality when you get weapons, you're just not locked. Like a traditional beat up, ABA is going to do the same kind of combo. This is, oh no, you're going to do something different depending on the weapon you got. And I thought that was a nice touch for TowerBorne.
Yeah, I saw, the way it's looking like. I don't know how many exact, different abilities are for every weapon, but I've seen like 2 on the Shadow Breaker. I've seen a couple on the Pyro class. I like the Pyro class because it's, for those of you who don't know, you got like these perks and you have to have a certain like pretty much focus point to use them. You can have up to 3 and you have 1 for 1 and then you have another 1 for 2. I kind of want them to make to implement a super with these characters that you use all 3 focus points, because I feel like that's the biggest thing that is missing from this game is a super, like something big, something strong. I feel like the Sentinel should have like a Reinhardt shield from Overwatch where it covers like a good portion of the field. Like if you want to go these class directions, and I will say they play very differently, but the thing is you got to make sure that they have a role. The Sentinel one should be more about defending than anything else. The Pyro class should be a lot of just ad control, where he's taking out multiple creatures, multiple enemies at the same time. And then the Shadow Striker, he's more of a I'm gonna focus on the boss while you guys focus on everything else. And the Rock Breaker, he'd probably be more of what the Shadow Striker to do. Like I want you to lean more into that, where it's just like. I want that scenario where we're in Destiny. It's like, yo, no, I need you to be a Titan. I need you to be a Warlock because we need that
Yeah.
well. We need that bubble. Like, I
Hmm.
want something like that. And I feel like if they implement good supers to every class, it would really help that class stand out from the rest. And I do think they stand out dramatically from apart from each other. But that super is, I feel, is that missing key to really set them apart.
I agree. I think that's a great point. I think that if this game leans into ultimate abilities, it could really take it to the next level, really special. And of course, we'll talk about the gameplay loop and stuff that we play, but like I'm even thinking big picture. I'm thinking like dungeons, raids, activity. Now I got to plug. They got to plug the whole team, Lords of Gaming Network, the YouTube Lords of Gaming YouTube channel. Go check it out. We have the interview with the PR guy from Stoic when we for TowerBorne. The gentleman's name is Kevin, and the vibe I got from them, Attic, was like, yo, we just got getting started with kind of like our live service and to really help this player base and take this game to the next level. They got great ideas. So I hope they take this feedback as far as like really like you said, the characters are distinct. They're great. They're unique. Let's get some super abilities. And if you want to do some dungeons, you want to do a raid or something, hey, 2D, I'm down. I'm down.
So let's do the gameplay loop. All right.
Yes,
So for
yes.
those of you that's played, like, I would say like the old Civilization. There was one that they made on the Xbox 360. I'll look it up. It's Civilization Revolution. So it's pretty much like a very generic civilization, but that's what made it fun because there wasn't like all these weird, complicated things. It was just straight to the point. You good, straight to the point. That's pretty much how this is. The map is split into multiple sections, and when you go to that, in order to ascend into the map or ascend into a different set of the area, now you could see stuff on the map. Like there's this giant creature that I haven't got to. You see on the map where like I'll call them like the heat points are the parts that
Hmm.
is the most smokes on the map. So what did you think about this? Because this is where I'm okay with it, but I feel like it could be implemented way better.
Right. So yeah, like the way it sounds like to me, after you do the introductory quest where the game is trying to just get you familiar, how to play, how to attack, how to defend. There's a roll button. You got your juggle attack, your strong attack, and you got those ability buttons at the top with the triggers and stuff like that. Then it became, okay, now we want you to go out into the world. And it almost felt like map control. Like you had the tower in the middle, and then the whole tower each segment around it is a stage. And like you have to take control back when you do the stage, and then you get rewards. So basically you do the basic stage, and then at the end there's like a reward, and then this is where the looter shooter kind of vibes come in, the looter vibes come in, which is like at the end now you get greens and purples, whether it be your boots and your chest, and then they give you stat bonuses, right? And one thing that I was impressed, and this is as a Destiny fan who hates the way armor is in Destiny right now. I feel Destiny could really improve on armor. Like they had things like, hey, if I get
Very in
three of
depth.
these, yes, if I get three of these,
Some
set,
division stuff.
yes, it's giving me division set bonuses and stuff like that. Plus floor to this attack or your crit, whatever your play style is. I'm like, okay, so now you're getting the replayability to it. And also shout out to them with Transmog as far as being able to change. Obviously, we got the Founders Edition or whatever it is, but we're able to change all aspects of our suit. But back to your question with the gameplay, which is, again, it seems stage oriented. You would see things farther on the map that you can't get to, like they seem like world bosses and stuff like that. And then you would basically do these stages, and I guess they rate you on your performance, how many times you've been down, and then there's always that reward at the end of it, like a strike, so to speak, where you could get and it's replayable, right? If you want to do them over. And they had like almost like a what you call like a world tier. How Diablo has like a tier. You could move the tier up to tier 2. They,
And you
they
have to
had
get a
that kind of thing.
license just to open up your tier. Like they're pretty much like, look, we know that you nice, but you got to prove how nice you are before we let you go into really tough situations. Like,
Facts. Like they have a section in the Belfry. I'm gonna keep calling it Tower, yo, where they be like, yo, you can't unlock that. It's not like Diablo. You just up the difficulty. You can, like Addict said, you got to go in there and prove to these people with like hard enemies inside this like training area, and then they're like, all right, you beat that. Okay, cool. Now you could do level 2. I was like, oh, that's kind of dope.
yeah, I think what they should do is they should incorporate the story with this. Maybe even have like an enemy faction at the other end that's pushing out while you're pushing out too. so you have to like choose where you want to go. I do feel like the way they're making this game, like, because you see all the people on the map at the same time, everyone that's online. I'm kind of like scratching my head the whole point or having everyone there, because every time I'm trying to like matchmake, I'm not matchmaking. Like I matchmaked one time, and then I played with you that for that like a couple hours, and that's the only time I played with other people. So I'm just
Gotcha.
like, what's the point in this massive multiplayer thing? Is it just like a Fable thing where you're just seeing where the people are, but they're not really interacting with you at all? Because to me, if that's not the point, and it's just like you're just seeing them, I feel like there should be an enemy stronghold on the other side of the map, and they're pushing the map down while you're pushing the map up, and you have to choose who you want to take over. You have to go to this one because you know it's going to give you, because if you're going to put strategic things in this game, you might as well go a little bit farther and do something with the RNG. And then I feel like after you do that story, they should make another mode that's like a PvP. Like three people have the map on the top part, and 3 people got the map on the bottom part, and all you're doing is fighting for the map, and whoever has the most by the end of a certain amount of turns would win.
Like a map control thing. Yeah, it's interesting because, like, to your point, the way the game works is you see the other players in the world map, right? You see them in the belfry, but like, I'm assuming that probably because we're in beta right now, there's still technical issues as far as the matchmaking is concerned. Because technically, when you start something, you should be able to matchmake.
And did you see if you can actually see what people have? Because usually when it comes to these loot-based games, like you're able to like, oh,
Inspect.
what you got on, and like inspect them, and I didn't see that yet. So.
I didn't see it. I'm not going to say it's not there, but to your point, I didn't see it readily available when I walked past. And when I saw people walking past me and stopping by me, like they could see me, but I didn't know if there was like an official inspect button kind of thing. What I did notice, again, very Destiny influence, is like they had like a quest, like a bounty system. I noticed that in the game. But there's still a lot of things that they're giving us in a very limited aspect in this beta. They're not letting us really go all the way with the gameplay just yet. And it seems like they're trying to establish, connectivity, basic gameplay loop, making sure things work, and probably take feedback. But I agree that is something that I would need to be in the game. One thing I did like is I talked about this on last word, was that, just pressing down on the D-pad allowed me to have a whole series of emotes, something that I've been waiting Destiny to do for the longest. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought that you could tell the game is leaning into, the social aspects and stuff like that, waving at people, sitting down, doing emotes, doing all that kind of stuff. And I really want to shout out the art style. I know you weren't the biggest fan, but for me, it just looks like a cartoon, man. When you're walking in the world, even the enemies, the way they're animated, the way they're drawn, it just looks beautiful to me. I think this is it's a very visually appealing game to me. Even the background, the grass, the different biomes on different stages, it looks like a cartoon. Like, but no, that's just me.
I feel you. I think I see like the Borderlands franchise, Hades 2. What's that game that just came out that's made by the Moon developers?
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. It's like the Diablo joint, right? That joint?
Yeah.
I know it's Wrath or something. Oh man, I'm blanking. I know what you're talking about.
Stuff like that. And even I would make the argument you can even make, the Ori games themselves. Like,
yes,
I like that art style that has like a lot of like fine detail in it. And I'm not saying this game doesn't have like fine detail, and it is an early preview. It's just, I feel like the character models could look a lot better. Like when I'm sitting here like doing the creator player, I'm not really the biggest person on that stuff. But when I was choosing between like being like what gender you want, like how big or small you want the characters to be, it was like 2 options.
Oh, okay. That part, you're right. I thought the facial options were good though, but you're right. You can't really make so much distinct size. You can't do that. No, you're right. I give you that. They are very locked in that aspect.
And plus, I feel like, maybe for the Rock Striker, whatever that class was called, when you have a class that you would visualize being like a tank, it should probably be reserved to the bigger characters. Like that's why you got like Reinhardt, Roadhog on Overwatch. They're huge because they're designed that way. So my overall conclusion with this game is, I feel like, even though I think people are going to love the gameplay and like there's going to be a lot of other aspects that they kind of drop the ball with a little bit. I
Mhm.
will say playing this game, I did not want to put the controller down when I was like
Mm.
learning the styles. I do feel like this game has a lot, and I mean a lot of potential to do
Yes.
something in it. It's just I feel like there's certain aspects of the game that they need to take with a fine comb and just figure out exactly how they want this type of game to be played. Like I said, when it comes to the massive multiplayer, like I feel
Hmm.
like they have the structure to make something that's like Destiny, but something unique to their own that actually can do well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. You see the potential, and it's like they've got something special on a foundational level that we see there because, like you said, the core gameplay is fun. When you're playing this game, I'm just smiling. I'm feeling good. I don't want to stop playing. You're leveling up. You get more powerful stuff. You get more powerful gear, and the process starts, right? And then you could tell they have like a gear system. They have an economy system. You're breaking stuff down. So they have the feedback I want to give them is the game will really appeal to a lot of people by the way it looks. My concern is because they're going online, Luda, which is a decision, which I get it. You know, even David talked about doing couch co-op as well as online and stuff like that. But I do wish, and I mentioned it to you when we were playing, there was an offline mode. I know it probably can't be done just because of the way the server structure, because I know some people as solo players would like to play a game like this, like it's an action, game, and don't want to necessarily maybe play with people. And I know, most you can still play solo by yourself and go online, but I wonder if they would ever consider it. Probably not. But other than that, like I'm with you. The foundation is here. They have to keep iterating. We want more big and bombastic things. We want dungeons. We want supers. We want like you can this reminds me of D1 in a way, but like the side scrolling beat 'em up with some looter elements in it. And I think it's got potential. So I'm pulling for them. I think Stoics got, a lot of things going on here. Obviously, we know they're in beta right now. They're doing the cross progression and doing all that stuff. But I think TowerBorne could be really special if they listen to the community and take the feedback. And from all things I'm hearing, they look like they on it. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think this game's got a lot of potential. They got to be very open to criticism. They got to understand that just what I like is when developers make these type of online infrastructures, and I am a little nervous it being an only online infrastructure because I have seen throughout the years that when these kind of games lack a little bit on the community
Hmm.
support, then they just pull the plug entirely too early. I'm worried that might happen, but it's just like what I would like the developers, even though they had a vision for the game, if their communities got better ideals, maybe entertain it and just don't dismiss it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it's on us, to provide that feedback, that critical feedback to them to try to make this better. And first thing we've all said, please make those indicators in the tower where we got to go, who we got to speak to, way more vibrant. Because I don't be knowing sometimes what's the next thing to do or who to talk to sometimes.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it, man. I probably put about 10 hours into it already.
Mhm.
It was a fun experience. Once again, thank you, Xbox, for the code. They hooked us all up. We'll probably be talking about the podcast a little bit this week. But this is, since me and Cog played a good amount of the game, I felt like we can get a little bit of extra content on this. Give you guys a little bit of extra content. Don't say we don't do stuff for you.
Yeah, out here playing these games. Facts.
So